On today's episode, we're going to do a Q&A session. These are questions we've pulled from our social media platforms, questions that you've got. We're going to answer right now on Biz Talk. First question. Why am I so cool? Tracy, answer that one. Take your time. Take your time.
Oh, I'm thinking.
It's so overwhelming.
I'm thinking
of emotion.
When did it become opposite day?
It's not opposite day. Listen to me. I'm cool. You're going to take it because I'm your boss. And that's...
No, you sign my check. I don't care.
You know what? I will
Actually,
take it.
your mom signs my check.
She does. So I'm still cool. Thank you. Q&A session today. Tech questions, salon questions, all kinds of stuff. Maybe not one full episode, each question, but we can pull like 6 or 7. Let's get started. Today's first question. Can you use gel to glue a tip down? Tracy Ryerson, can you do that?
I'm trying to think of what form they're talking about. Like if they're talking about like a quarter well tip, like, and then you're going to add product on, or
that's how I'm interpreting it as.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm picturing it. I would suppose you could. I don't think I would. I've used acrylic to do it before.
Okay.
I don't think it would. It would be a little more work, and then you're trying to put it in the light. I know there's the full well tips now that they're adhering with the gel, and that's completely different. But a quarter, and then you're going to add product on top. You'd have to do it and then try to stick it in the light while you're holding the tip. It just seems, I've done it with acrylic, and the reason I've done it with acrylic in the past when I did tips is when someone had a really flat nail bed, that little acrylic helped to build like a bear.
I understand.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble. But like when you're trying to do a flat nail and you glue, you're kind of trying to push it down, whereas that acrylic gives you that little buffer and it helps fix
like adhere to whatever the surface is
it adheres
of the
better
nail.
that way.
And also, I would imagine.
Longer.
Yeah. And also with gel, it would seem it would take longer, I think. I think that's maybe under specific circumstances.
Yeah.
Possibly, or like you said, a full well. If it's a full well tip.
I know that there's some that are doing that, and that would be different. But like just a quarter, no, I don't think I would.
Go with glue, maybe acrylic if it's weirdly shaped. Nail bed.
Just sculpt it.
Just sculpt it. Next question. What are the best apps to book clients? Tracy, I'm not 100% familiar. I know there's a couple out there. I'm not 100% familiar with a lot of the booking apps, but what would be important in a booking app for you if you're doing nails today?
I know that the booking apps have come a long way from when they first started, because I was, as you know, I was against them when they first started, because you don't really have control of your schedule and people are booking just on the fly, and they don't know what they're getting. So for me, if you are looking for a booking app, and I know that they have improved them a lot, it would be the flexibility of being able to put in like how long a fill takes, how long a full set takes, if they're getting like the variations of times. I know that there's a couple places I go to, and now they have that capability. It's like, do you want this? And you push that button, and that actually allocates the right amount of time. So as long as you can do something like that, I think those are really good.
Yeah, I know they do, because even when I book a haircut, all those options are available. Like if I want to do a haircut with a shave and this, it basically shows you this is 30 minutes, this is 40, this is 1 hour, and then it blocks out that amount of time like on a little calendar that you can actually see.
Right.
So depending on which, I guess the issue would be if somebody's like, I'll do a fill, but then they really want a full set, or I want a fill, but then I want all this nail art on top, and then they click it, and then they show up, and it's like, well, I wanted this too.
It's like you clicked the wrong button.
You clicked the wrong button. That could be an issue from time to time, but I think if you're educating your clients along the way, and they know, hey, if you get this with nail art, like make sure it's this, make sure it's whatever the situation is.
Yeah, and I think now they have, you can identify the new clients. So maybe you give them a call ahead or a text ahead and say,
that's good.
Hey, I just want to make sure that this is what you're looking for, so we have you scheduled right. I am really starting to like the fact that these apps, because of the deposit features.
It's huge.
Yes, I love that. So now I'm on board with them. But maybe, this is the great part of this kind of topic on the Biz Talk is put down the good ones that you're using
in the comments.
Love it. And let everybody know.
Yeah, whatever you're using, put it in the comments, and that way we can kind of share information. That would be good. I think this is a really interesting question. How do I keep everything clean because of COVID? If you're in a state that has regulations, like what would you do, Trace, in this situation? I will say this. Every state's laws or cities or counties are going to be different. You need to check with your local city, state, whatever rules on what you need to do. Because I think they actually have, like, you need to clean, like for gyms and stuff, you got to clean after every session or every hour. Check on that. But what would you do exactly?
I would immediately go to my state board page, because they have it all outlined on what needs to take place.
Okay.
So I really can't, that beyond that, I mean, obviously you just need to follow what they're saying, and we're going way above and beyond. I mean, there's certain things that is very difficult, like brushes, we can't quats and stuff like that, but I'm sure they have storage rules. I'm sure they have, as far as your implements, the rules there. So yeah, that would the only recommendation I can say is go to that page and go above and beyond. I'm not even talking about your lights and stuff. Like, take a look at what your stuff looks like. It may be, you may have disinfected it and cleaned it, but if it has gel and polish all over it, people are going to translate that to dirty. So really take a look at your stuff, and just as an appearance too, like, do things look new and clean, because people are going to be on high alert right now.
Yeah, that's such a great point. Like, not just doing what state board requires, but going above and beyond, because we've seen, like somebody might have a clean station, but your e-file is coated with color and just goops of acrylic or gel, and then your UV light is the same way.
Yeah, everything, you've cleaned it, and the lettering's all smeared. And I honestly, I not my electrophile, because they're so expensive. I just really tried to take good care of that. But my lights, I changed out every year. Yeah. Just because
your hand goes in.
Yeah, they bump it, and the gels, and you can't scrape that stuff off. And it's clean. I've completely cleaned it. It just doesn't look good anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Check your state board for exactly what you got to do, and then go above and beyond. Next question. How do you fix a nail that's lifting from the free edge without using glue? I'm going to answer this one. Tracy, what's the answer? That's my answer.
I like your answer.
I have no idea.
Actually, I've gotten quite a few DMs on this.
Okay.
And they show the picture, and it's completely separate.
Just so I'm sorry, I just need to understand. Okay, it's lifting from the front.
Yeah.
But what do you mean without, just like, so not having the easy fix of, it's lifting from the front, let me put a little glue and just press it down?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
That's what they're asking.
Okay.
Please don't ever do that, whether it's lifting from the front or the back, because there's a good chance that you're going to trap moisture. And then you're going to end up with what we call the greenies. And that's how they happen. It's when something gets sealed back up, or water's able to go in and it's trapped.
Right.
So you have to remove it completely and start over. That's what you got to do. So bad news, you have to remove it, but good news is you won't have greenies.
Yeah. So no shortcuts on this, basically. If you've got lifting, but I mean, not to go off topic here, but if it's from the back, I mean,
don't glue.
Yeah, but you got to like cut it out. You have to cut that.
Remove the lifting.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. If it's from the front, basically the whole nail's coming off.
Yeah,
right?
You don't know where that stops. So
exactly.
Basically it probably is almost all the way off. The back you can kind of see better. Like where it stops. So you just remove the lifting part, and we have some great videos on that. But
perfect.
Has to. Whatever it is, front or back, got to be taken care of.
Take care of it. No shortcuts. You got to do it the right way to ensure health of your client's nails.
Well, and I will say too, glue never fixes it. It will pop again. Even if you don't get greenies, it's just going to pop again. So you got to fix it.
For that reason alone, no shortcuts. How long did it take Tracy to build a clientele and to be able to just live off that, basically where you built a career, Trace, where you're making money? That's a really good question. I like this a lot.
So, I mean, every town's different. Every time and decade is different. For me, it was 6 months.
Okay.
I was able to build a clientele in 6 months. But again, I really had the perfect situation. The salon that I was in was very busy. There was eight or nine of us total. I mean, they were all busy clientele, so I was able to feed off that. The salon had a very good reputation, so I was able to feed off of that. And they were very supportive and helped me and taught me, so I was able to work off of that. So I was very fortunate.
Sure.
But 6 months, yeah.
So also, let's not forget, and I know Tracey very well with her work ethic, okay? Those 6 months, I'm 99.999% sure, not only did you have all those things, which is a good situation, but let's not ignore the fact that you were in there grinding probably 15, 16 hours a day, 6 months straight, like 6 no breaks, 6 days a week. Yeah.
I would come home around 9 o'clock at night.
Exactly. So you were hardcore focused, no breaks, like 1 day a week, really going to build the clientele.
Right, because my focus was getting the clientele, then I could shape it into the days I wanted to work and the hours I wanted. But just get them in the door was my complete focus at first.
And to be honest with you, I think all the other stuff, having the support, having the salon, that is obviously, it's big. But nothing, you could have all that, and if you're not grinding and if you're not putting in the work, you're not going to build a clientele. Correct. It's just not going to happen.
No.
Right? So I think the answer is, and it might, like, look, you were grinding hard and then you had that sitch, so you built in 6 months. Maybe it's going to take you a year. I know we talked a lot of our mentors that they said it took them maybe a couple years to build. Everybody, it's different for everybody.
Completely booked.
You're completely booked. But the one thing you have to do is you've got to go head down and you got to grind. There's no other way. Correct or incorrect?
It's absolutely 100% true.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how talented you are.
It doesn't matter. You're building a business, you got to grind. Next question, should I have a minimum age for nail services? I know this person asking the question was, she has, I think she goes 7 for polish, but then some of her clients bring in like a 3-year-old or 5-year-old and want to get their nails done. This is very interesting. And I'm like thinking about it. I don't know what I would do. I never thought about like doing kids' nails in the salon. It's just not something I've thought of. So what did you do, Trace?
No small humans.
So you had a strict policy across the board?
I had a pretty strict policy. Not that every once in a while, I mean, everyone's, the kids are having a little party and they wanted the book, especially when I was building a clientele. That's cool. But really, once I had a clientele, my rule was if they couldn't afford the service to pay for the service themselves and they couldn't drive themselves to the service, they didn't get their nails done. Polish is a little different. I mean, people, what's funny is a lot of people will bring their kids in.
Okay.
I did have eventually that rule that your kids weren't welcome. I don't want to say it so mean, but for liability, my space was very small. Really, it was no small human policy unless your child is able to come sit in the lounge by themselves, completely not bothering any of the, and what the sign said was, it's for your peace. This is a restful time for you and for the other clients. But people would bring in their kids before I had this policy, and they kind of expected you to polish their kids' nails for free.
Really?
Yeah. Like, oh, little Sally wants her nail. Oh, can you just throw something on while I'm curing or drying?
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I can understand the no, kids policy. What about for pros that do take kids? It is part of the clientele. What would you say, like as a minimum? For polish or for acrylics, or I mean, I guess it's gonna be different for everybody, but
I think if you're going to polish, it's not really about the age, it's about the kid.
Yeah.
Because there can be a 12-year-old that's a nightmare and a 3-year-old that comes in and is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I think on the flip side, though, because I recently got a DM about this, enhancements. She's like, oh, I have this person and I can't keep the enhancements on, and I'm trying to work through it with her. And she's like, oh, by the way, I didn't mention this, but she's 12.
Yeah.
Like, please don't, their nails are not at that point that they should have enhancements. They're going to go, just go play and go do the things, so they're not going to stick anyway. They're not as hard as a mature adult's nails. You're just going to run into trouble and a lot of pain, and you're going to be doing a lot of redos because, of course, the parent isn't going to understand, well, I paid for them.
Of course.
You need to fix them.
Yeah.
I used to do like temporary sets when I was building a clientele for, 8th grade parties. I mean, man, my God, people go out for these things.
Oh, yeah.
Which is cool. But it was temporary sets. Like I made it very clear, this is like a day or two. It depends on your child and what they're doing because they're going to go play. So I really truly believe when it came to artificial enhancements, if they couldn't pay for it or drive themselves to it, because the first time that kid gets in trouble, their punishment is going to be, you don't get to go get your nails done.
Right.
I had that call, calling them like, hey,
you coming in?
Little Susie didn't show up. Is she there? I'm like, oh yeah, she's grounded. Well, I'm not.
This is my career.
This is not my, so yeah.
It can be, I could see that. That could be challenging. My daughter's 10 and it's like she's in everything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to keep enhancements on, maybe
even
for polish.
Even polish.
Oh,
really,
totally.
Because you don't know what they're doing.
Of course.
And so there's, if you're going to do children, I would, even polish, I would explain it to the parent like, hey, kids, they suck on their fingers, they're into things, their nails aren't strong like an adult. Polish is not going to wear on them like an adult.
In this situation where this person is saying she has a 7-year-old policy and then the people keep bringing in younger people, you just got to have a conversation with them and say, look, my policy is this, it's 7. The reason why I have it for 7 is because of ABC. Yeah. You explain the policy to them and, I can't do the 5-year-old or the 3-year-old, unfortunately.
You must be this tall to ride
the
ride.
Whatever the situation is, exactly.
Habib, you can't ride the ride.
I may not be able to ride the ride, but I can watch and be in envy and get mad at Tracey.
And it just
I don't know what that
goes
was.
downhill.
Yeah, it just went downhill. So I think that's the big thing, is communicating in your situation, communicating with the client to let them know what your policy is. Those are all the questions we're going to get to today. Please, in the comments below, answer any of them. Give us your opinion on any single one or all of them. We'd love to hear from you. Tracey, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Biz Talk.